play with this stuff. Okay. What's this do? No. Yeah, I wouldn't want that anyway. Okay, what's this thing do? Live chat. Okay. Live. Nobody's on. It's okay. Gives me time to mess with this stuff. Hello. What's going on? I think we're getting Wesley on here. I think he's going to be able to, maybe around 7:10. I don't know. Well, I sent him a link. Hopefully this works on here. This is trial and error. We did it this way this week because if he can get on and is able to get on and he has to go, then he can kind of bounce out and I can continue the conversation type of thing. So we'll see there. Yeah. So see if he pops on here. I put a thing up earlier asking where everybody was racing and what they ride for chassis. And seem to do pretty good. It's good to see all the different type of manufacturers. You know, when you're from a certain area, only certain chassis get a lot of attention. There's a couple sprinkled here and there, but I'm sure you go to the big events and there's a lot of premieres and stuff like that. But it's really cool to see your local people running all sorts of different manufacturers. I really like that. I haven't shot a video yet this week, as you can tell by my board. It's still last week's subject. I've been busy. I got a new to me truck this year or this week, so I've been busy doing that and a whole bunch of other stuff. Nice, good. I'm glad videos help. That's one of the things that I never get sick of hearing. Not for my own vanity per se, but I'm here to help, and that's why I created this channel, was to help people. And even if it's even if I'm slightly off, or just giving people the basic premise of what to do in whatever situation, that's why I do it. And every time I notice, my glasses are just ever so. I'm probably noticing more than you guys, but they always sit like crooked. But, I got my big muscle shirt on today. Just got done with the gym not too long ago, had some dinner, and we are here. I don't know if I need to send Wesley something. Can I add guest? We'll copy link. I don't know if he's available yet or not. Oh, add. StreamYard's one of the, it makes going live a little easier. It makes it so you can have 4 or 6 guests, 10 guests if you pay for the subscription type of thing. And I thought about doing that, and it's just like, we could have somebody else on it at some point in time, but I'm like, until that point, this might do.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think the YouTube thing's good too, because it's a better documentation.
Yeah.
Like I said in the beginning, all of this is kind of trial and error till we figure out what makes sense, what don't, whatever. So
Yes. Yep.
so,
And one thing, I don't know if it's a spoiler, I wanted to ask you, and might as well do it on here. I have the option to not go live on this. It'll be live, like we can have a conversation like this. I really want to do a video on Maxxis tires and what the process is and date codes and all that stuff. And I thought if we did, I can do like my intro video for the channel, but then
yeah,
say, hey, I had a conversation with Wesley about this, somebody who's actually done it, because I don't want to explain a process to people that I don't do.
right.
It's just,
Yeah, no, I
but
get it.
I thought maybe we could pre-record it type of thing. And then I could just say, hey, we're going to go to this conversation. And then, people could absorb that information that way.
Yeah,
Just a
no,
thought.
absolutely. Do you want to
Yep.
do that tonight, or do you want to do that
No,
separate?
no, 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 no. Whenever.
Separate. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever.
No,
I
we
got
can
I got
definitely do
plenty of
that.
video ideas. If you get a second and we can have a conversation about it, I will just record it and then I can kind of put it out whenever type of thing.
Yeah, and I'm working closer and closer to getting to where I can have a play like an office. So
Right.
once that happens, I'm being very optimistic and saying in the next couple weeks. But
Right.
once that happens, that'll give me a lot more room to be able to like have time to do this stuff too.
Yep.
I've got a right now. I've got one of my business calls got moved to Thursday night at 7:30. Last week I had people in town, so between that and people in town, and like it's just been rough. So I'm
Yep.
trying to get through that little phase, and then also get to where I've got a dedicated place where I could just stay late. And
Yep.
like I said, we could do something that's not live, right? And we can
Yeah.
just
Yep.
do that stuff as well. So
Sure.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm in for that. Okay. Oh man. So it's
Yeah.
been
I
a
was.
couple weeks. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, the last week there, I was just like, I won't say I was nervous because I've been live before. I've been live with you, but I've never been
Yeah.
live on my own channel. And I was just like, oh, how's this going to go? And as it turns out, I'm quite the motor mouth that people ask me questions. I'm like, oh, I got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Not too
Yep.
bad. Yeah, as long as you
Yep.
got somebody helping you out there, like I said, giving you some prompts, you can rock and roll.
Right.
Yeah. Did you get to race last weekend?
I did not. So Friday, I went and got all down there. It was supposed to be 100 to win or something. And this is, it's a bummer. This happens, and it's not this track, this track only, but it's called KB Speedway. Anyway, they run on Friday night as opposed to the one track that draws the most carts on Saturday, and it's great and all that. And I got down there, nice facility, nice mowed lawn, everything. All the little amenities that you're looking for. It's not a big track, but it's a super nice track. Got down there, it's supposed to be 100 to win for the 300 class, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to run 385 in the 300 class just because it's 100 to win, and I just want track time, no big deal.
Right.
If I lose, I lose type of thing. But I was honestly the only person that showed up for it. And it's just like they didn't even run the races. Like there weren't enough people. They just kind of gave open track. But I was talking with a couple of the owners there, and they're just like they don't know what they're doing wrong, and it's unfortunate. I think not a lot of some tracks come into that. They can't explain everything that is needed is there, and sometimes racers just don't show up, and it's a real bummer because
Right.
you want to. It's like racers got to go, or else there is something to be said for maybe sports are still going on, school's still going on. It may be a bad time of the year for that particular area that kids are still in school or doing whatever, and maybe they have other tied up. Something got brought up. They had a money race a couple weeks ago, and there was some rough racing. I don't know
Mhm.
that one race of rough racing would
Yeah.
condemn a whole track. So I don't think
Right.
it's that. Just hard to explain, and I wish I could help them. It's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a relevant topic. So, I mean, I think on the micro level, definitely time of the year is tough. I mean, I'm seeing the cart counts down in a lot of places right now at races. I'm like, man, there should be more people there. But I do think you're seeing a lot of vacations. I think you're seeing a lot of kind of getting back to the regular patterns we were at, like especially pre-COVID and stuff. I think everything's been so
Yep.
messed up through 21, 22, and even last year it was kind of like starting to like feel normal again. But I think this year everybody's like, we're going back to normal. We're doing our
Yeah.
thing. So, I think you got a lot of those, like you said, vacation scheduled, finishing up school, like all the stuff. And then at the same time, like I think everybody's, normalizing on disposable income because you had a couple years of kind of where people had more with whether it was because they didn't race for a little while through COVID and they saved that money or stimulus and different things. And I think some of that's catching up too, because trust me, it's not just go-kart racing. I know a ton of people right now that are just dead slow in business. So,
Yep.
um, I think the disposable income's drying up and I don't think, like I said, the tracks are doing the things they need to do. I
Yep.
just think we're gonna have a period of decline
Yeah.
because of the macro environment of what's going on.
Yep.
You know, I think so. The micro scale timing that early June is just always slow,
Yeah.
and then macro scale, everybody's kind of reshuffling the cards there and trying to trying to figure out what they can and what they can't do. So I don't know how to fix that though, because it's
Yeah.
disposable income, but like for me, it's at a point now where it's like it's disposable income to any degree. Where
Hmm.
before it was disposable income, are you going to spend it on vacation or racing, or are you going to spend it on shopping or racing, or
Hmm.
this or racing? Like that was kind of
Yeah.
the battle. Now it's like nothing. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yep.
nothing. Like not vacationing, not going to the mall, not going out to eat. We're not doing nothing,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that's a different economy than
Yeah.
what we've seen in a long time.
Yep.
Um because even through like 08, 09, 2010, like we had like go-kart racing was still pretty strong through that. There was people that suffered if you were in construction, or if you were in the mortgage industry, obviously like big hits
Yeah.
there. But on the other side of that, you had people that were doing great. So I think this time it's a bigger blanket of not doing as good.
Yeah.
Um, and hopefully like just they're going to start, and I see it already, and I see them talking about already like on some of the um Twitter and some of the other news sites and stuff like that. But they're starting to talk about that whole like propping up the economy for the election. So I think you're going to see gas prices start coming down a little bit.
Yep.
I think you're going to start seeing them try to do something to like give people that better feeling of go ahead and go ahead, do what you want to do, spend your money, it's going to be all right thing. But I think right now everybody's still a little bit just like, what's actually going to happen, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think we're in a unique time. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think anybody's blowing the doors down and anything like that. So, but on the positive side, like they had the Jason Kimball race this past weekend, the third annual memorial. So, it's a new race. Jason
Hmm.
was well known, and they combine it with the Florida State Series, which is the
Yeah.
better, it's the best organized series in Florida right now. But man, they had a great crowd. I think they wound up
Uh,
having 40 something in the memorial race.
yeah.
Um, over 20, 30 in all the stock classes. Kids classes were
Yep.
kind of hit and miss, but for the most part, that's really good go kart count for this time of the year, and for being Florida State Series, which has seen a little decline with the going to the Vega only
Yeah.
tires. So,
Yep.
um,
The
so I,
also there was at Battle Creek there. The the Four Takes and Fuel guys home track there. That seemed to.
mm,
I think that was a pretty decent turnout.
yeah,
So little wins everywhere type of thing, and maybe that's part of it. Is your more established tracks are going to hold on to a lot of the racers. The ones that the KB that I brought up is it's not a new track, but it's new this year again. It got new ownership and they're reopening, and to get that foothold right off the bat. It's tough. People are excited about it. They go a little bit, and then they run into all the problems that just discussed, and it's just like it kind of it's like yep.
yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody always relates it back to cost, and cost is always a big part of what we do. And I think that's the even more the reason why you see some of the new, the Reaper stuff getting some adoption because of the cheaper price point. I'm actually seeing a lot of people talking about the treaded tire stuff because of
Oh,
the
yeah.
ability to just run them and run them and run them right,
Yeah.
get a lot more life out of them. It's in that kind of that backyard category, but I
Yep.
mean, at the end of the day, like they're building racetracks to go run treaded tires at because they can't run them nowhere else, right? And
Yeah.
it's like
Yep.
there's your sign, kind of in a
What is
way.
it? What's the one in what's in the one in North Carolina that runs treads? Uh Shoot
That's
the
Millbridge.
Millbridge, yeah.
Yeah, so Millbridge is its own unique animal. They run tread. They went to treads a while back, but it solved some problems and it created others, right? So
Right.
it solved some problems to the degree that that group of racers was more of the NASCAR community and
Yep.
less like typical go-kart racers. So they really wanted to kind of get rid of the tire prep stuff. They didn't really want to adjust and flock to it, and that's okay.
Yep.
Um, but the way that they did it with the Hoosier deal and Hoosier only, got to buy the tires
Right.
from the track. I understand track needs to make money and stay open and all that stuff, but it kind of puts everybody that runs there in a box because like you
Yeah.
can't go run them nowhere else.
Right.
They're still really expensive. I mean, granted, I get it. You don't need to buy that many, but still, like it's still expensive at the end of the day. If somebody
Yep.
wants to go try it, that's still a big
Oh yeah.
nugget to go try it.
Yeah.
Um, so that that was a step in the right direction, or and a step in a direction for them. I don't
Yes.
know that
Yeah.
all of it's right, but
Right.
the thing that I see that's getting more popular is like the Maxxis stuff with the T18s. um I don't know the whole like plan idea to around that tire, but I see people running it. I see people wanting to run it. I see tracks starting to include it in like as an option class, which
Hmm.
is different. I think the biggest thing with the tread stuff is like for me, it's almost like the tracks need to be prepared so much different to put on a good
Yeah.
show with treads.
Yep.
So it's almost like it's like a racetrack, like any of them, right? Could
Hmm.
say one weekend out, we're gonna race 2 weekends out of the month. One weekend out to run, we're gonna run slicks, and we're gonna prepare
Yep.
the track how we know it will be good for slicks. And then one other weekend out of the month, we're gonna prepare it for grooves. We're gonna keep
Yeah.
it wetter. We're not gonna pack it as much. All those things. And I think that could coexist to see. I mean, that would be a fair. What do people really want to do, right? So
Yeah. Yep.
um, and I think that would be fair because I think right. I think the hard part about trying to add like one or two classes in on a track that's run slicks all day is you don't get the true essence of it. Like you might eliminate some of the tire prep and you might eliminate some of the things, but you don't really get that
Yeah.
true essence. Like the very first track I grew up on or raced that I my whole first year was kind of like my introduction. The track that by nature and by the timing of our evolution, it was like half treads and half slicks, and the
Hmm.
racetrack didn't lay all the way down. It lay down, but then it also had like a berm, and
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
yeah.
like some awesome racing because you had people on grooves and people on slicks, and like it was truly whoever figured it out for their setup. We had some people
Yep.
that's like all they ever ran was slicks and they were fast, and there's some people that
Yep.
all they ever ran was grooves and they were fast, and
Yep.
that worked for like 2 years until they made it like slicks only. And then everybody had to adopt. And obviously the racetrack
Yep.
was different then and all the things. But I feel like in a little ways we're kind of going back in time to do some of the things that's already been done. But maybe that's what we need.
Yep. Sure. I'm
So
sure. Yeah. No doubt.
um, I'm sure you would love to go run that UAS car on a heavy racetrack with some nice grooves and just bang the cushion
Surprisingly
with that
enough,
thing.
surprisingly enough, though, we started off and we had treads, and I hated them. I was
Really?
not a fan, and my old man, oh, they'll work, blah blah blah. And as a matter of fact, one of my stories from way back when was when I was running an open class. I went out, raced UAS. I came back one time, and you had a local guy who's super duper fast, and he was on treads. He came over, looked at my car, and he's just like, "Oh, slicks, it ain't ready yet because at that particular track you could run treads or slicks." And he's like, "Track ain't ready for slicks yet." I'm like, "Okay." And then I went out there and just half tracked him, and I see him assholes and elbows just scramble putting his slicks back on. I was like, "Oh, it is time, isn't it?" I
Yeah.
had tossed all my treads because my cart never behaved properly with treads because I don't drive like that. I don't pitch it sideways. I
Right.
drive a corner. I don't like, I can, don't get me wrong. I'm not afraid to get it sideways. I ran and open for long enough, but also I prefer not to. I prefer to drive it like an actual corner. So it's, is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I was reading through some of these past comments on a
Yeah.
couple of them posts that
It's
we
kind of
had.
nice on this. I can read on my phone. It's like, oh, the comment, yeah, and it
Yeah.
stays.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. California. Yeah. California runs a lot of trades
Yeah.
because with the outlaw stuff, and then they kind
Yeah.
of it kind of bleeds over to flat cart stuff. But no, I,
Yeah.
I
I
think
don't.
that I think that would be good. It'd be good to see a little renaissance of it, kind of like a resurgence of it. But I don't know
Mhm.
that it's really the answer. I still think that the most kind of like that's fun in a way, and like you said, it's different, so it's not for
Yep.
everybody. But I still just think like a good heavy wet track with
Yo.
yellow Vegas is just
Oh,
fun. Like it's
that's
just
my
so
that's my
much
favorite.
fun.
Yep. That's my
Like,
that's my absolute favorite on an open. Just
yeah,
goopy, soft, yellow Vegas. You could feel them just kind of roll into the turn. It's like, whoa.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So they had a track down in South Carolina that was kind of their their way, right? They had a sprinkler system and they just wet the track all week long. It was so wet you couldn't walk on it, get on it, nothing. Like it was
Yep.
just soaked. And they raced and they had a ton of go-karts because everybody knew I could take two sets of Vegas, one punching 15 and one punching 20, and I could
Yep.
race there all year long.
Yep.
I didn't have to really do nothing crazy, and
Yep.
it was fun for those people. You know,
Yeah, they
it's
won't
fun.
on a soft enough track. Those tires won't burn out. They
Right.
just kind of mold, and you can run them super low pressure, so they just kind of melt into the track, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So they had a track in South Carolina that was very successful with that, and they wound up shutting down. And I don't really I don't remember or why or what it was. And then they had a track in North Carolina that ran on Friday nights that was very similar.
Yep.
You did have to run some Maxis stuff sometimes, but it was the same thing. Like those tracks got the most go karts because everybody knew what to expect, and they could easily duplicate. Like I said, it didn't burn everything up; it was easily duplicated.
Hmm.
I think there was a lot of tracks that did well because of that, and
Yeah.
now everybody wants the track to just be fast, 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 and
Yep.
run good tires, and like yeah, it's nice, and it's a kind of a learning curve, or once again it goes back to like people know what to expect. But
Yep.
I think the soft track stuff coming back might help.
Yeah.
It won't help. It won't help with the prep as far as
No.
trying to reduce it or get rid of it, but
No.
it might help with people's willingness to want to go.
Right.
Even Liberty, whenever Liberty opened back up or switched hands when Tommy and them bought it, they kept that thing soaking wet for like the first 3 years, and that's how they built it. They built their
Yeah.
whole following with a super
I
wet racetrack.
I really like that track. I've only been there one time, but I
Yeah,
super like that track. Like it was a
yeah.
lot of fun. I got taken out in the first lap of the main, but it
Wow.
is practice all day long and qualifying and all that. I was like, man, this track is awesome. And then
Yeah.
just we took off, and they just couldn't agree on the first lap and took me out, popped my right rear, and that was the end of that.
Yeah. Well, it
Yep.
got to be my home track once I moved up there. So I spent a many a days around that place, and I've seen the evolution going from wet to now it dry, and then dry
Yep.
slick. Good. It was really good for a couple of years, and then dry slick, and then now it's kind of an odd, weird mix of like just there. I don't
Yeah.
know. The dirt might just be getting old, but yeah, I think there's a lot of tracks that could do well if they ran a wetter racetrack.
Yeah, it makes me wonder with the calcium that they use down south, if that has it's got to have an effect on the soil, and then eventually it'll that you can only bind it so
Beats
much, and
it
then
up.
upturn it
Yeah.
and bind it and upturn it, and eventually it's going to wear it out, like hey, all the good grip's gone, man. Yep.
That's what it seems like having at Liberty, and they brought in some dirt. It seems like when they bring in dirt, it kind of gets better, and the same thing, it kind of wears it out over time. I do think that that is a condition that happens. I
Yeah.
think whether you use calcium or not, but I think the calcium might accelerate that, just
Yep.
because it's chemically changing the soil. And what I notice is just it gets more and more powdery. Like
Yeah.
it loses its ability to really like be good dirt,
Yeah.
really good clay. So yeah, no, I agree with that. And I mean
Yeah.
that's a cost too. I mean that's go back to cost, and racetracks are not spending as much on calcium and other things, whether it's the calcium or track tech products or whatever it is
Mhm.
they put in the water. Hell, just water period. If they
Yeah.
don't
Oh
have
yeah.
a good easy source for water can be a big expense for them.
Oh yeah.
If they're having to pump everything, and really use a lot of electricity to do that, whatever it may
Yep.
be. So yeah, there's a lot of factors that make it tough. So
Yep.
I would you would think it would cause the resurgence in asphalt racing, but I haven't seen that at all yet.
No.
Even I thought the LO 206 stuff was just gonna really take off, and it had a couple
Yeah.
good years, but even now it's still like I know there's some like Morgay does a great job with the Ignite stuff because they bring it all and they do it all drive and drive for people for the most part, and like I know they have some, but I really thought that was going to just like take the world over because I'm like, this is easy. People can get into it, throw it in the back of their truck. They can go to the racetrack. They can adjust little things and figure out how to drive. And like this can get people in go kart racing. Then they can move from, you know,
Oh yeah.
from that to dirt. Like
Yep.
so many people are going to want to race dirt, so they're just going to naturally move the dirt. I thought that was a path, to kind of grow the sport, but I hadn't seen it really take off like that. So
Hmm.
I was a little surprised, to be honest with you.
Yep. The I don't know how much time you have or not to answer the question here.
Oh yeah, I'm past 7:30. I didn't even realize it. So having
Yeah.
too much fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Just
okay. I
want
got a minute or two. We can
to.
answer a
Okay.
question, and then if you want to keep going, you're more
Sure.
than welcome to do it for sure.
Okay. Let's see. GT Scott 32. Western PA Clone Racer. I was told to keep multiple sets of the same size stagger tire at the same duro. What is the reason for this? So there is a, whether or not it's true, I have to do a video on this. Up here, at least, I don't know about down south. Burris will take, for example, there is a sediment that you do not run the same set of tires more than once. If you go out for practice, that's one set. Take them off. Don't put that set back on. But put your qualifiers on. So if your cart is set up for a particular, say it's an 1.5-inch front stagger, 1.5-inch rear stagger, though that they want that tread never to hit the track twice. Do I agree with it? Not really, but there is some validity to speed. You are giving up a little, microscopic little bits of speed throughout the day. The same could be said for new tires versus older tires. But that's why they're saying have multiple sets of the same size of the same duro, because you just change sets and you don't have to worry about anything other than changing the set, and that's that. But I don't know if that's a Maxxis thing or not, or
It's become more of it, and I think it's dependent on where, like, the exactly what you got to do at the track. I agree with you, like the sediment on Burris, and this is like the way I look at it is look at your competition level too. Like this is more probably on the state and higher levels. Some of the Saturday night racers are going to do it too because now we just don't have a lot of separation between that.
yep,
But yeah, to be the most competitive on your Burris stuff, having multiple sets of basically the same tire, that way you can just put in it, and it don't have to be brand new every time, but like you got 4 sets, you hit the track 4 times. Every time you go out, you got a fresh, and a lot of times those guys are resurfacing them too. So you got a fresh surface tire that you're hitting the racetrack with every time. So you're developing a constant. The constant is this track has hit the tire, like Ben said, the first time the tire hit the track today, and it's got a fresh surface on it, and that
yep,
has yielded a consistent and a fast tire setup. I do,
yep,
yeah, yeah, and obviously the more competitive races you go to, the more people are going to be able to maximize that. But
yeah,
like Ben said,
yep,
I agree. Like Saturday night racing, or if you're at a racetrack where you're not wiping, that's another place where you can rerun tires and it's not a big
yep.
deal. The sediment, I think the Burris sediment is if you got to wipe them, definitely don't run them more than once unless
And
it's a
yep.
crazy situation, right?
And there's a thing to where, say you're running a local track. They're also, I'm speaking Burris. People say don't run the same set of tires, especially if you wipe back-to-back weeks. Give a set of tires a week break to allow that duro to come back, to allow for that wipe that you put on there to evaporate and get out of the tread, surface them, whatever you got to do. But give that set of tires a
A
a
break.
break in between,
Yeah.
and it's something it's tough for me to do because I'm running older stuff. I'm running older 11s. I'm running really older 33s, which we're gonna find out. I did that video, and we're gonna find out how far off they are. My proposition was I get the wipe when you guys don't. Like you may have
That's
2024s,
right.
I got 19s, and I could just go. And I'm not afraid to drop in my duro, and maybe I run the entire 20 laps on the prep that I put on there. But that's if they keep on biting, if they keep on firing, fine.
Yeah.
Do what you do. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that's a really in-depth topic that we'll get more
Oh,
into it on our video with when we do the Maxis stuff.
right.
Because there's some sediment on Maxis too. It's definitely more on the higher level.
Right.
Um, but I think it's like anything, it just depends on the level you're racing and or the level you want to develop your program. Like if
Yep.
you want to build your program around that, then that's a proven element of benefit if you can.
Yep.
So all right, I'm gonna jump on my other one, and then
Okay.
just let me know. We'll do the Maxis video.
Okay. Yeah. Whenever.
We,
It was just
yeah,
for a later time if once
Yeah,
you have
no, I
time.
agree.
No pressure.
Whether it's yeah, I mean, and whether it's Maxis or any other topics, like I said, we'll do the video and then you can just post it on your page and like we can share it to the group. Like it's all good.
Sure.
As long as it benefits everybody, I'm happy.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
So, all right, cool. Check out later.
All right. That's it. He doesn't want to leave. There he is. Okay. All right, guys. Just me now. Yeah, I'll stay on for till probably 8 o'clock. If anybody has any questions or anything you want to discuss or want to hear me ramble on about, we can do that. But yeah, that's I'm dealing with that whole burst thing and tires and everything up here right now because AMS, the local track that I so far I've done the most racing on the clone with. I ran the double 30s on the same set of 11s. This is going to be, we have race coming up July 6th at AMS. I could do the Reaper race out to Dodge City. I have Reapers to do it. It's a heck of a trip. I'm trying to, we were discussing the economy and having money and stuff, and I have a very finite amount of money to go racing. And if I just race local, that amount of money doesn't get way out there and play. I'm going to find out if I go to AMS for the double 40s. I say double 40s because I'll probably run 2 classes. How my older 2019 tires will hold up. I'm sure lots of people of 2024s. We're going to find out if me wiping heavier at the track helps or not. It's starting to get hot. It's going to dry the track out. I'm really going to be able to. I'll probably prep a set with straight black sand or mint or something like that, and really allow them to bite up, and then have them for the night's racing. I really like the Reapers. Matter of fact, why don't we? Let me grab some. I like to show and tell. There are, I'm sure a bunch of people, and I would say a lot of Maxis type people that have their process have the biggest problem with them. But I mean, is this the set I ran? Pretty sure the set I ran. BTG. Yeah, I have one race on this, and they're barely touched. Chris C on C High Performance, SEAY High Performance. He did a very in-depth talk about the Reaper versus the Maxis and how he feels the Reaper emulates the old Dunlop tire a lot. He remembers running them a lot from back in the day, and he really talks about the profile and how they look similar. I mean, the Reapers are created, whether they say 20 minutes away from the Maxis facility, so very similar, different type of rubber and all that. But so far, I really, especially for the budget racer, which a lot of people are becoming. Can't afford the high tire bills or keep up on your prepping and this and that. The Reaper's a great option. I haven't had one DB'd yet. Like I said, I think last week I ran a set on my open for practice and I ran them in the heat race. Great grip and everything like that. I just, for the feature, I was like, all right, well, let's see if the tires that it seems to be my speed loss here. It wasn't. It's a handling issue. It's something with my my setup on the open cart. But I was 440 pounds in my open, and I was running on 3 and 2 psi on GTR rims, and they did not DB. They did not come off the rim. So there was some talk like, oh, they come off the rim. Well, I saw Evan C win $10,000 at the Horsepower Nationals, and obviously his tire stayed on his cart, and he was absolutely ripping around low country there, cartway. I mean, and that's, like I said, if you aren't following C High Performance, Chris does an excellent job of describing the tire and from a southern perspective and how it compares to the Maxis. But up here, I think they're a great tire. So far my experience is don't over prep them. I'm not. I didn't want to listen. It's that I wanted to experiment, so I went super heavy on one set on the internal, and it did. It was the sprint speed was great, but it almost locked me down too hard, and then it was not a good time. So they're recommended, no more than say 2 ounces internal if you're going to roll internal prep into them. the outside, treat them like a Maxxis, treat them like a Burris, 1 wipe, 2 wipes, you don't load them up with stuff. They seem not to, they, because it's a natural rubber, I think they said, it really bites really, really well, and you have a tendency to lock yourself down, especially in a clone. You're not going to want to do that. So I like them. Yeah, I think they're getting, I won't say a bad name. The people who like their Maxxis, the people who are good at their Maxxis, and rightfully so, are going to continue to want to run Maxxis and not want this competition Reaper, because they have an advantage, because they know that tire so well. The whereas the Reaper, it's a whole new learning process, and you don't seem to have to do as much. I don't know. So far, I really like it. Terry Odom has been nothing but decent to me. I did the promo stuff there. And I think that it's a good thing all around. I can also, I don't dislike Maxxis at all. Matter of fact, I love Maxxis. I think they are one of, if not the fastest tire down south. It's just my Maxxis program doesn't need to be top shelf, because I rarely run down there. So there's that. But any other questions you guys might have for Dirt Kart Racer talk? Yeah, that's it's been tough with Wesley. He's just such a busy guy, and it's not that I'm not busy, but my wife allows me. She's like, okay, Thursdays at 7 o'clock, you do your thing. So we kind of decided to do this. It's not that the Facebook thing doesn't work. It's that I can't see the chat on the Facebook thing, and on my channel, I have a little more control. It can get playback and this and that. Not that it's anything for me. I don't care, but it seems to be a little easier format, at least for the time being. And then I can always share it on the Dirt Kart Racer program there. But I don't know if this is going to be a from here on out. But Wesley's just busy. The way we're doing it now allows for him to bounce out or come in whenever he needs be, and then I can continue the conversation. I'm a moderator on DKR, but I'm not administration on there, so I can't go live. So I don't think I can. Maybe I can. You hate pinks and blues. I love my Vegas. This is true. I love Vegas too. Oh, they're in the trailer, because I didn't end up running. I was going to run Vegas at that little KB Raceway. Yeah, I feel bad. I could have practiced for free. When I went down there, I felt really bad that not a lot of people, but some kids got to run. They got the log laps. They got to make some adjustments. They got some time. So the owners were super cool at KB. Just like, hey, we're not going to charge you. You want to run some laps? The only reason I didn't run any laps is I didn't want to clean my stuff, because that means taking the rear axle out, taking the clutch off, going through the clutch, going to, got to change the oil in the clone. And I was just being lazy. And I ended up just sitting around BSing with Kyle and stuff. It was a good time talking about, bench racing's, I won't say as fun as racing, but it's, it's up there. Bench racing's great. Yeah, I mean, I can just keep on jabbering on. If anybody has any questions or anything, hit me. Doesn't mean I always have the answer, but I will try. I'm sure I have an opinion on it, if you have anything. It was chest day today at the gym. Not that anybody cares, but I love a good chest day. International chest day is Mondays normally, but I train chest twice a week because I want to have a big old man chest. And if you've ever seen it, you guys probably aren't into lifting, but there's a thing called a slingshot. It keeps you form properly, and you can also lift a lot heavier than you normally would. That's 295 pounds for 4 to 5 using the band. Now it's technically cheating. That's not a PR. But it helps your form. And when I regular bench press super heavy weight, like if I'm shooting for a personal record, it tends to hurt my shoulder, because you chicken wing, you tend to pick your arms up, and it'll hurt. It's been bugging my shoulder, so I got that slingshot to keep my freaking arms down so it doesn't hurt so bad. And yeah, worked out pretty good. I am pushing 50, but the exercise bug kind of hit me, and I've been doing it for 3 years. It's helped racing. I mean, I did a video a long time ago about it, And, you know, I highly encourage exercise for racing. Whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult or anything like that, it really does help. I mean, I ran that back to back, you know, 40s, and the first one was a doozy, um, but a little get used to. But the second one, surprisingly enough, the second 40 or 30, I'm sorry, the double 30s, it was a breeze. Like I was just locked in. Like, hey man, I got this stuff. I just remember to breathe. 5 times 5, yeah. Oh, hey Bill, saying hello. Yeah, my son started boxing in 2020, and then I did that with him. Fun. He had one match. I kind of got into the lifting thing. He kind of got into the lifting thing, and it's good time. Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah, I do like to talk about racing, but over there, let's switch this camera. Over there's the open, sitting there, sitting in the corner, misbehaving on me. I it's just a time thing. Like I said last week, I'm going to put a whole different setup in it. I'm going to go try some drastically different stuff to see if I can't get it to behave differently, because I don't know what I'm missing on it. I have not a standard setup, but my typical standard open setup, this stuff that I always ran on like a Recon that always worked for me. Something is off, and I got to figure it out. But I've been running this clone and having fun doing that. So we'll see. Yeah, yeah. I've got my whole family going to the YMCA now. It's literally like 3 blocks from me, and it's right around the corner from my work. So I get out of work and I go and I work out for an hour. And the key is not to sit down. So I'm on my feet every day. You know, I'm a body man. I work on cars, you know, fix gearheads, stuff like that. So I get out of there. I've been on my feet all day long. But if I come home and sit and or have dinner or anything like that, just like you're zapped and you don't want to get up do anything. But if I go directly from there to the gym, put my workout in, get out of there, then I'm extra hungry. And you know, after this, I get off here. I'll go walk my. If anybody's seen, I have a disabled dog, Norman. He's a wiener dog who had back issues, had surgery, and he's not paralyzed, um, but his rear legs they still move, but he can hop and do all. It's called spinal locking. But we have a wheelchair for him. We take him for a walk. We take him, you know, a couple 2-3 blocks and get him some exercise. And but I do that, and then finally, you know, on Thursdays I do this, and then get back from all that crap, and then get in here and do work on carts. Yeah, I know. There's so many tracks I want to go to. The Midwest Race Champions. In Ohio, there's what is it? Oh, Scott Warning Memorial. That's this September. Yes, September. Um, Bucket list race. Whether or not I get there or not, I got to get that thing figured out before I do any of that stuff. I On the finance thing, you know, I just mentioned it there. I really haven't been disliking, you know, running local clone, and it's saved a bit of money, and it's a different experience, and it gives me, you know, some footage for you guys and experience that I can relate to more people that run clone stuff. Um, it's been hard this past couple of years being a UAS only guy, trying to relate to, hey, I get these questions about, hey, what gear ratio, what should my engine be turning, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know. But now I do. I have a little bit, you know, a better perception of it. But 555, yes. I tend to do. I get warmed up a little bit, and then finances. Yeah, I don't have a Walt anymore. Is the deal here? Uh, well, a real good friend of mine, just, you know, he got older and didn't want to do the racing thing anymore. It's not that I had you know, carte blanche with, you know, all finances that I ever wanted, but I had way more than I did, and I also had, you know, a racing partner to go on trips. He had a big 2011 F350 to tote along the trailer and go to, you know, go down to. I think we went to Mississippi. We went to We went to Georgia, you know, PA. We went all over the place, just all these races, and now it's me. And I'm just a broke racer like everybody else. So, run it, like I said, run in 2019 Burris against 2024s. We'll see how that works out. It is what it is. What's going on, H&H? Yeah. If you guys don't ask questions, then I just talk. Nobody wants to hear that. I'm not sure if I'm going to race this weekend or not. Probably not. Maybe next weekend. I could run tomorrow night, but I'm all loaded up and I could go, but I think Mama wants to go shopping, so that's a no can do. I know. How far am I from Eldora? I have no idea. I've never actually looked it up. If I had to guess, have I looked that up before? Was it 7 or 8 hours? Really not too bad. Yeah, Alabama, yeah. I drove through Alabama. I raced at the Grand Nationals was in Mississippi. Yeah, what was that? What's that big track there? Ran there for the 2017, 16 or 17 UAS Grand Nationals. Why not? Ran on that big track. Yeah, I was down there briefly. Yeah, like I said, I've been as far as Lazowski in Missouri, out west. I'm 14437 in New York. I've been down to Tampa is the furthest I've been on the East Coast here. Possum Kingdom, I raced there. Georgia, you know, Mississippi, North Carolina, Tennessee. Have I been to South Carolina? I don't think. Been in Virginia a couple times. Margarettsville. I've been to Capital City. Liberty in North Carolina. I've been there. GKK in Georgia, but I don't think anything in South Carolina. I don't think I've raced there. Ohio, Route 68, which is now gone. Been to another track down there. PA, just all over the place. Somebody asked earlier, Blairsville this weekend. I am not going to Blairsville this weekend. I love Blairsville. I have 3 or 4. I'm leaning 3, but possibly 4 UAS wins at Blairsville. I get around there just dandy. But financially, just not happening. And I got to leave it the butt cracking on, and that sounds like poo to me. Yeah, I got a bunch of house stuff to do and this and that. If I go race anywhere, it'd be either, you know, I could hit Champion on a Friday night. I could hit KB on a Friday night, or AMS. Those are my closest tracks here in New York. Yeah, I know that that was a real bummer. Clay City, the first Grand National, and neither Tafts went. My dad and I, you know, we've been big UAS people. You know, both my dad and I have been administrators in UAS at one point or another, and they had the very first Grand National. Matter of fact, the point system as it stands, I won't say it was entirely architected. It might have been by my dad and everything, and they were, you know, Road Dog, Jeff, and you know, Mark and everybody. You know, they're pretty upset that neither Dad or I went to the Grand Nationals, but you know, we've been broke racers as long as we've been broke racers, which is forever. And neither of us could afford to do it at that time. And it was exciting to watch, seeing the footage and hearing all about it and this and that. But yeah, Clay City looks like a. Didn't they have a 50,000 to win race, the insane one, at one point in time? It was a clone race, but I know I'm pretty sure they had the 50,000 to win. It was like, was it 50 laps and 50 laps, or 25 laps and 25 laps, something like that? That would have been super cool to see. Yeah, I would, Jeff. Yeah, dude, that racing's racing. Uh, and I kind of find figuring that out this year as well. With I love to go fast. I love my UAS, package. The Bama, the acceleration is second to none. The exhilaration, having that. But even in the cone, I'm finding a lot of fun. Um, a lot of fun in the clone racing, just because I think there's so many people to race that too. There's something to be said for that. Don't get me wrong, I love my UAS family, but when you show up and you're racing 3, 4, 5 people, on a good occasion 10 up here, it's the days of having 20, 24 carts at Paradise Speedway are long gone. That was a riot, but I can go anywhere around here and run a clone, clone 350, clone 375, clone 400, something like that, and I have people to freaking race. It's not going as fast, but it's its own thing, and I'm having a blast doing it. Ooh, Godspeed! I've heard Godspeed's a really good track. Um, Tons of tracks I'd love to go to. I get that. I do get that in my DMs a lot. Hey, I'd love for you to come out here. It's like I would love to go there. I would love to go everywhere. I would love to race at every single freaking track. I really would. It'd be great. Yeah, UAS will come back. There seems to be a lull. It's along it's disposable income. It's you have everybody. Oh, it's this reason. It's because of these rules. It's because of this. It's not. There's ebbs and flows. I've been doing UAS stuff for a long freaking time. Like if I've been racing for 21 years now, my daughter will be 22. 22 years in August. I've been racing, and I started in '06 running UAS. Um, I've been running UAS stuff a long time, and it's gone like this, and then it's gone down, and then it's gone like this, and then it's gone down, and then it's ebbs and flows, just like clone racing, just like any other type of racing. There's highs and lows in it. Uh, it should come back. It's and everybody, all the expensive Bama engines, the Jawas, the BRCs, and this and that. It's like on a local level though, the 450s and the 250 two strokes, the shifters, they're still very valid, very fast. It's I don't think that's it. I don't there's nobody. I just got spanked 3 weeks ago by two 450s. I got a very expensive Bama sitting over there, a lot of money, and I got spanked by two shifter 450s. Uh, so it ain't always about the horsepower. It's not a drag race. It's about going around the corner. And those of you who can get whatever it is around the corner faster are just plainly, better at it. Yes. Yeah, that my recommendation. I am a two-stroke guy at heart. I love two strokes, and I had a four-stroke for a very brief minute. I had a Jawa. Uh, it was fun, I guess. Okay, cool. I never had a 450. I probably would like that, uh, but I've always been a two-stroke guy. But when people say, "Hey, I want to go UAS racing. I want to get into open racing," what do you suggest? I always suggest the 450. Uh, the MX 450, you get them out, you figure out a shifter. There's a little bit of carburation, thing and what have you, but to learn or not to, if they have experience with karts, but they want to go high horsepower racing, the 450 is just a bone stock CR 450, YZ 450, whatever it is. They are gobs of horsepower, more than enough for local Saturday night racing or even getting used to it. Now, is a stock 450 going to run with some of the monsters we run against in UAS? No. Horsepower wise, if you get a big track, you're in trouble, buddy. If you don't have, some head work on it, if you don't have this or that, but you're talking about the, national level type of stuff. But on a local level, if you want to get into open racing, I highly suggest the 450s. They're heavy. They're planted in the ground. It's going to give you a new perception of horsepower. It's going to give you a new perception of what we go through. And I've been not debating, but discussing what this horsepower thing does. I've always run standard, excuse me, standard nose weight, whatever, pretty close to what a factory recommends. Say Phantom, for instance, if they're running, 45.5 to 46 nose. I've always put that on my cart and it's always worked well. but I have people telling me that they run a lot less nose. And the idea is because there's so much acceleration, you're laid back, and as soon as you decel, it's dumping all this weight onto the nose, so you don't have to run that super high percentage in the nose to get it to turn. Now, I've always had super good luck running like 45.5 nose in this thing, but it might have come to a point where maybe I am running a little bit too much nose. Maybe that's part of my problem, that it's not, it's getting it's entering way too good. But then as soon as I get back to the throttle, slamming back to the rear, I'm not quite sure. That's again, something I want to play with when I get on my open. Maybe I want to reduce the nose weight a little bit, see if that helps, see if it changes anything. But I tell you what, it's going to be hard for me if it don't turn when I ask it to turn. It's going to be hard for me not to put that 10-pound, right back up in the nose. Yeah, shifter deceleration is better, no doubt. But beef, Jeff knows beef. This is I know Jeff. He watched it Paradise. And if you're on a bigger track, that can hamper, because he was watching video. I was leading and he was chasing me. Now, Beef had a monster 450, a monster CR 450, and he had the tranny on it. And he said he watched the video, and I would just, at the end of the straightaway, he's right with me, got plenty, or he's catching me, he's got all this horsepower. And because mine free rolled with the jack shaft system on the 2-stroke, that engine brake aspect of the 450 would brrr, and it would, it would draw the cart down, getting into the corner. Was it still going fast? Yes, it was, but he was losing on entry to me because of how free my cart was. So there are gives and takes. With shifting, they're great. But you have to deal with an engine brake, and also that's a learning process as well. I probably would have a real hard time with the engine brake. Because I'm so used to that free roll. When I lift on my 2-stroke, it just coasts in the corner, much like a clone. There's no drive into the corner really, and that's the way I've always driven it. But I'm gonna end it there, guys. I got in, we'll say, trouble last week because I went like 8:15 or 8:20 or something. My wife was like, "I thought you were gonna be done at 8 o'clock." So I should probably jump off here. I really appreciate everybody coming by. If I can, we'll try and get Wesley on. He's a busy guy, is what it is. With his other businesses, we'll try and get him on this channel a little more often. Like I said, video coming, probably soon here. I'm going to record us bantering back and forth about the Maxxis process, because those of you who don't know, what Wesley has experience at the highest level of what to do to Maxxis. I don't have all this information. I don't know what it takes to do that, and I never want to do a full video on a subject I don't completely understand. I may have concepts and I may do a video, but I'm very I'm soft on giving any hard opinions on it. But Maxxis is out of my wheelhouse for the most part. Just the process of date codes, the process of cycling them, all that stuff. He's a more knowledgeable person. I want to pick his brain. Having him, converse about this stuff will work really well. I think I'll record it as you just saw us at the beginning of the stream. We'll record it like that. I'll do an intro and talk about what we're going to discuss, maybe and then do an outro, something along those lines. Kind of popped in my brain, hey, I'd like to do this video like this. Get a secondary opinion on it that is more knowledgeable about that. But all right, guys, I super appreciate you coming by. Hey, buy some track tack and say, I bought track tack because Ben told me to. That'd be great. Anyway, guys, super appreciate you. I'm going to bounce. I will see you next week, whether we're on Facebook or back on here or not. But thank you very much for coming by. Later.